What's up, all you beautiful How many of you are sitting there going, oh yeah, drum programming. Oh, I just can't wait to do some more drum programming. Oh, it's my favorite thing to do. Oh, drum programming. Yeah, probably nobody. Most of you just want to record your riffs, get your ideas out, and do some songwriting instead of trying to navigate your way and spend the time doing drum programming. Totally get it, totally understandable. So instead of blah blah blahing, here's a playthrough using grooves from this pack. I didn't do a single note of MIDI editing. Check it out. Not a single note of MIDI editing. I just had the riffs and I found the grooves that fit what I wanted to do. And actually, the 6/8 groove in there was something that I wrote because I liked the groove, and then I actually created a riff that transitions and fit well with that groove. So it kickstarted the creative process, and it was kind of funny because I kept coming up with more ideas. And I actually have 4 separate ideas that I came up for this particular video. I'll show them all to you, but I only fully mixed and mastered one of them because I mean, there's no point doing 4 different playthroughs. But it just goes to show how really good drum grooves can kickstart the writing process, give you new ideas, inspiration, and it keeps you recording instead of programming drums. So real quick technical background. Ron recorded it with an electronic kit using Superior Drummer 3. However, he used the Drums of Destruction EasyX pack. So that means if you have Easy Drummer 3, all you would really need is the Drums of Destruction pack to get the perfect routing and all these things, but that's not even necessary. Ron's pack will work with pretty much every drum library out there because it's MIDI. You might need to do a little bit of moving around to make sure a tom is a tom or a splash is a splash, but that's a lot easier than having to writing all of these drum grooves. So looking in the DAW here, I just have the EasyX Drums of Destruction up. Now the really cool thing about using Easy Drummer is if you go to the Grooves tab here, you can go into the Options tab and you can link a folder. So that's what I've done here. I just linked the Loudstakk Metal Groove folder right in here. So now it's right here in the DAW and I can audition different beats or whatever beat I think might work for what I'm working on. Additionally, Ron has taken the time to categorize everything. This is such a good thing. Fast fills, fast grooves, fast intros, mid-tempo fills. You have metal fills, traditional fills, triplet fills. These are all very important things to have because you might have a different feel, or you might be in 3/4, or you might be in 6/8. There are mid-tempo grooves in 4/4. And looking down here, you can see black metal, folk metal, and then if we scroll over to see the time signature, you can actually see it up here, 3/4, 4/4, 6/4, 7/4, 6/8. Lots of different time signatures represented here. Again, more time recording riffs, less time programming drums. So you can get your music out there, you can get your ideas out there, and you can get a finished demo going, where then later on you could maybe play around with the cymbals or play around with the fill a little bit to get it more exactly what you would want. And again, would just like to hit home, look at all the different genres here. Black metal, deathcore, jank, doom metal, folk, grind, groove, hardcore, Latin infused, metalcore, new wave of British heavy metal, power metal, progressive metal, thrash metal. Every kind of metal that you would want here has been played in by Ron, so you get a nice human touch and a human feel, including velocities. Now, I did ask Ron straight up, hey man, did you edit these? Did you time align these? The answer is no. He only edited velocities where it made sense. So you have a very realistic drum performance, which I can show you here. If I open up the MIDI editor here, I have not touched a single bit of MIDI here. If I highlight these and we go to the velocity settings, you can see I didn't do any of this. This is all pre-done for you, and it sounds fantastic. Sounds realistic. It doesn't sound shitty. Doesn't sound robotic. Now, again, just to prove the point to you that these are like literally a kickstart machine for creativity. This was the original, the playthrough that you just heard just a couple of minutes ago. But I had more ideas. I kept hearing grooves that I really liked. So I created a death metal version, another black metal version. I even did some doom metal, because if we just listen to some of these grooves and how tasty they are, they're really, really nice. Let's check out a couple of them. So here's this black metal. All right, it's a nice triplet groove there. Let's move on down. Maybe we got something a bit more blasty that we might like. Ooh, a reverse true blast. Let's check that out. So classic, even has the tom roll fill at the end. A lot of this is just going to be pretty much drag and drop. Now, there are fills in here that you can also cut and splice up together. For example, if you have a fast groove or something like this in like 180 BPM, it's really not a big deal to mix and match different BPMs, because one thing that Ron did do here was the fills make sense in the BPMs that they've been played in. So 195 BPM doesn't mean they can only be played in 195 BPM. You could do 145 BPM, 210 BPM. You really need to make sure that as the higher up you go, it doesn't sound shitty. Slower is always going to be more or less okay. It's the faster BPMs where you might need to watch yourself a little bit. But for example, here's some fills. Some of these fills are just so classic. Yeah, that's a burning metal fill for sure. Here are the triplet fills. Sometimes you can get some insane speeds with the triplet fills where it sounds unrealistic, but it's just the sticking pattern. So we can do something pretty simple like this. Pretty simple sticking. And also you hear at the end, it's got that little extra rim shot kind of by accident. Very realistic sounding. It's pretty cool. Now, this is all very simple. It's just pretty much linear sticking. Sounds impressive though. Same here, but then you get the hyperspeed one. There, that's a pretty kick-ass metal fill right there. Fast grooves. We're just gonna go there. Look, guys, there are so fucking many of them, and I'd be here for days talking about all these. There's a lot. Nice hammer blast, gank beat, grindcore. Cool. Now this beat is pretty cool. You don't hear this beat a lot. That's a fun one. I use that one. So again, there's lots of fills, lots of grooves to go through here. Lots of different fill variations, not just, run down the tom type stuff. Intros that you can use. Do a nice build up. There's everything that you need in here to craft a song is literally here. Now you see I have other libraries here. Now these are cool and stuff, but the main issue with these other libraries is there's like, okay, we got 1 or 2 usable beats and then some of the fills and you're kind of like, okay, then you need to buy more packs to expand the library, which I've done here. And then it's very often where like the fills are cool, but they're not really making sense in your song. And because Ron played all these things in and he thought about, hey, what kind of beat will we use here? What kind of fills would we want to use here? It's very easy to mix and match, which I have done over here. You can see in the MIDI editing, this one I glued together, but this one I did not. These are all various different beats, as you can see here, and different fills. I found fills that I liked. And the cool thing is Ron has set them up correctly where there's no spaces at the end or things like this. So you can mix and match, cut them, cut a beat off, insert a fill, and just drag and drop, which is exactly what I've done here. And so let's look at the other examples that I came up with to prove a point, like how much creativity can come out of this. I have It's been years since I just pumped out 4 different ideas like this. It's pretty impressive. Here's another one that I came up with. You can check it out. You can't tell here because I made the BPM all the same, but all these beats were a couple BPM different, but they still gel, they still work together. And in this case right here, where I was sort of Frankensteining a couple beats and fills, for example. So awesome, very, so easy to use. And for example, a fill like this, maybe you're like, you know what, I want to put a kick in here, so it's not a big deal to add 4 MIDI hits. I mean, I think that's reasonable, right? You can add 4 MIDI hits, not just black metal. We can do some death metal. Now here you notice I did keep the BPM change, and I thought it felt cool. We have this little chug 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 mid-tempo intro, and then we kind of kick in the hyperdrive here. So that BPM change actually felt good for the song, so I kept it in. Notice that we have these fills at the end. I really like this because a lot of times you don't have to just have the blast beat and then find a fill that'll make sense. Ron went ahead and put a nice tail on a lot of these phrases, I'll call them. So a lot of these drum grooves end with a fill or have a fill in a logical spot already, so you don't have to look for one. So this is just a drum groove. This is just a okay. This is a drum groove. This is a drum groove, and this is a drum groove. They already have the fills in them, and they make sense for what is being played. Yeah, awesome. That's a song right there, too. Here's a song. So there's like 4 songs of ideas just in this session alone, right? And like I said, it's not just, black metal, death metal. Let's do some doom metal. Now, the interesting thing about doom metal that I find hard when I'm programming doom metal drums is how to make them fucking interesting, because it's fucking doom metal. I mean, how can you... So I really appreciate that Ron made some grooves for doom metal, and actually the grooves are very musical, very interesting. I really have nothing else to say. I mean, I've pretty much proved the point here. You know, you want to write music, use some drum grooves. And in particular, I would use the Loudstakk ones because they're very musical, lots of different genres represented, and they're really well played, to be honest. And if you didn't like something, it's really not that hard to double click, get in here, you go, oh, you know what? I want these two crashes, or I want a tom here. So you just move it to where you want it. Not a problem. That's completely different than writing things from scratch. So all the beats are there. All you need to do is be creative, think of a riff, and off you go. So as you saw there, I was using Easy Drummer. Now I did want to point out that when you do get the drum grooves, they come with like Hertz drums, Easy Drummer, Superior Drummer, I think GGD, I think even Invasion, like all the different mappings are in there. But just keep in mind that it was originally played on the Drums of Destruction mapping. Some things might be off one or two little bits, but the main thing is that the beats and the grooves are there. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to think of an idea. You don't have to think of a groove. And if you hate drum programming, this is a very good alternative to drum programming, or using just like, you know, really shitty beats that you could find online for free, or using the same tune track beats that thousands and thousands of other people have already used before. So I have really nothing else to say. I'll end it there. Big thanks to Ron for sponsoring the video. Like I said, Ron's been a friend of the channel for like a fucking decade. The dude is a really, really good dude. Puts out good stuff. I'm always happy to show Ron support and tell people about what he's doing because he puts out good stuff. So I'm going to check out links below in the description for the drum pack. Also, if you struggle recording guitar, there's a link down below to get my free guitar recording guide. And if you like the video, a like and subscribe is always helpful. I will see you in the next video. Later.